How's things going down Beltline?
Pretty good. Like I said, it's hard to find coverage down there. That's my hardest area to find help for down there. But it's been getting busier, which is good. I've been doing bills here this beginning of the month and added a lot of new people. So it's been good that we're adding people. We're taking a lot more trips up the Waterloo too.
What's up the Waterloo?
Just the medical trips up there.
You guys still haul on Sundays sometimes too?
We used to do meals on Sundays.
You guys still do that?
Yep. Yep.
It's all on Sunday.
Yep.
Just gas was what, $4.80 when
My brother's in Phillips,
he's diesel, right?
he's a big on-road trucker and it's like 1,000 to 1,200 every time he fills.
$5.5
Yeah.
for diesel.
Is that what it is, 5.5?
I'm glad I downsized vehicles.
I know, I said that the other day.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Morning. Come on in, have a seat.
All right, so I was able to pick up a driver down in Belle Plaine that want to hire. She's, I'll say, on the younger side of my drivers at 57, which is awesome to pick someone up like that. I got 4 drivers down in Belle Plaine right now. 3 of them are 70 this year. So, I mean, they're and one says he'd like to cut back on his hours. I know, and that's having shoulder surgery. So picking up this guy here will be an asset for us down there. So she also comes back. She's got a good office background, which she can come up here and fill in for Terry or whatnot that she's willing to do. So she'll be a good asset for us here with transportation. So that's why I want to hire her at $15.40 an hour.
Make a recommendation that we hire Jennifer Maylard, $15.40 per hour for Department of Transportation there. That's my motion, sorry.
Second.
Starting from 15.
That's correct.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Got it, Dean.
Perfect. Thank you. Have a good day.
Yeah.
Take care. Yeah, you too.
Please initial that one.
All of us?
Yeah, or just one.
Minutes.
I didn't see anything.
I've seen one boo-boo.
Have you seen a boo-boo?
Oh, yeah. There's a S on the end.
Bill, what's yours? He didn't say an S.
Top.
I had top instead of 2.
Yeah.
Okay.
Typo. Is that what it was? Okay, I'll fix
That's all
that.
it was.
All right, well, then I'll make a motion we approve it with those corrections. That correction.
Bruce, here. Second. I don't know. Yeah.
All in favor of approving the minutes?
Aye.
The corrections, okay. Aye. Scott's Lane.
I've got some questions here.
I know you.
Yes. First page, historical preservation, 3,500. That's the National Alliance of something. I presume that's some dues or something.
I think so, because they're getting ready for their conference.
Okay.
Because I've been going back and forth, you'll notice there's some coming out of their special fund as well,
Exactly.
the 0003.
That was my other one. The 0003 was another 450 for that
Yep,
as well.
so we're gonna be paying like their food and some of that stuff for that
Okay,
conference, and then,
I thought it was probably tied to the conference.
yep, and then they're supposed to get some of that revenue back once we show them the match.
Yeah.
Good.
Allison said she'll be coming in here the next week or 2 for us to sign off, and so they can send the bill off.
Very good.
Okay?
Gary, do you have anything?
Yeah, 4. We got weed seed. It's down ways.
Rural basics.
Under rural services.
Yeah, I'm guessing it was just, seed,
From Ben, from the weed
Yeah.
commissioner.
probably not so much weed seed, just seed.
So let's just describe it differently, whatever the invoice price says.
$870.
They go out and sow weeds, it's job security that way, huh?
Yeah. Anything else, Gary?
Page 4, inpatient, 289104. It's right down there somewhere.
That's usually the sheriff's office.
Or it's a middle or something, we have it
I think that's what it was.
there. And we can't give out the names.
Nope.
How does that work with regional mental health?
Depending on where it's coming from, if it's a county one or if it's the region, so.
I thought the regions covered that.
Because we have like different fund departments for the county. Because that, again, depends on the circumstances. So we that invoice will show you, we just can't discuss it with him right now.
Absolutely. Motion.
Yeah,
I'll second that motion.
all in favor of approving the claims?
Aye.
Aye.
Yeah. Alright, who's next? Barb Greenway.
I'd like to set a land use hearing for Steve and Emma Henry for Tuesday, July 5th at 9:15.
Make the motion that we set that land use hearing for Steve and Emma, July 5th, 9:15.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. What else you got, Barb?
I'd like to set a land use hearing for Hensley Innovations LLC for Tuesday, July 5th at 9:30.
So moved. And I would second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
You're on a roll this morning, aren't you?
I'd like to set a land use hearing for Amana Society Incorporated for July 5th at 9:45, please.
I'll make that motion.
What are you doing on the fifth?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
It'll be a busy day,
I'll be done there.
but you got your ducks in a row, so it'll go. Thank you.
You're slowing down.
That's good.
How's it going, man? Good morning. You realize you're all set behind you, so if you do something wrong, you can walk in back of the head.
Don't see any big skills.
Just look at us.
I should have told you that. I should have told the captain. False reference. I would have known if I did.
Recycling.
Okay.
With that.
Yeah, you have.
That's
Good morning.
Good morning.
Go ahead and start her up, Mark.
Okay, this application I've just handed you this morning is for the exemption to the land use ordinance. A farm exemption comes by way of Tess Kuhn. Tess currently lives in Ely. She wants to build a new house on land that she owns in section 1186-9. It's gonna be right up here in Polk Township, right above 51st Street Lane, just on the west side of 32nd Avenue Drive. She's claiming a farm exemption because of the fact that they have a considerable amount of land in production, and she has offered up to us. She has 169 acres of land there in that location that's in agricultural production. You have 24 acres that's in timber pasture, 95 in corn soybean, 15 acres of hay, and 35 acres of pasture. The remainder of the land at that location is part of the old farm site. She doesn't want to build on the old farm site. She wants to build on the other side of the road, which is in that timber pasture that she showed you there on that aerial. And so there wouldn't be any land whatsoever coming out of production, even though she qualifies for the farm exemption. She's going to locate in that timber is what her plan is. The house, like I said, is on the north side of 51st Street Lane. As far as our land use ordinance is concerned, a farm is defined as 21 or more acres used in the commercial production of farm product. She has that, so she can receive that farm exemption very legitimately, and I recommend that she be approved for this.
So moved. And I will second that motion.
Any questions?
I have none.
Is she actively engaged in farming them? Or she rents it out?
At this point in time, I think most of it is rented, but our ordinance does not require that she be actively engaged. She has a farm operation, so she qualifies.
Okay. Mark, is that where she wants to build, is that timber gonna be pastured then with cattle?
She has timber pasture there at that location, yes.
Okay. All right, I'll call for a vote.
Trevor, aye. Bruce, aye.
Seaman, aye. I take it they'll use the same driveway then?
Yes.
Thank you. Mona.
So, when I first started, I was told if we wanted to do like an out-of-state training, we needed to bring it to you guys. I can't find the policy in the employment manual anywhere, so I'm not sure if that's accurate. So I took this to May. She was okay with it, but I'm also bringing it to you guys, just kind of for the final blessing. If you guys are like, absolutely not, but wanted to bring it to you guys. So I want to go to a training in Indiana in October. It's Saturday, Sunday, Monday training. So I would drive there Friday, drive home Tuesday. There's enough money in the budget, it's, reimbursed by the region, all that kind of stuff. But because it is out of state, I just wanted to give you guys this blessing and see if there's any like specifics that you guys want, or.
Would you be the only one going? May's not gonna go either.
No, because she just went to NatCon in Washington, D.C.
Okay.
So she just spent like a week out there. So, and this one is specific to like the different licenses and certifications that I carry to be able to like do what I do for the region. So it's like, gets me the CUs and stuff like that that I need to maintain those licenses.
Office covered then.
Yeah, so Sarah will be here, and it's over the weekend,
Well, but
except for,
Monday,
yeah.
come back Tuesday, in a couple days, you're gonna be out.
yeah, so, I mean, Sarah will be here,
Okay.
but, I mean, I don't do anything with GA anyway, so even when she's not here, I can hand out an application. That's the extent of what I can do. So my guess is Missy will be in the office. By that point, the hub person will have started, so everything should be covered.
You need a motion to do this?
I just think we give her a nod.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I don't know if
It always was in the past, so that's what we said, I don't know.
Who's always,
To double check if they're going out of state.
Yeah.
all right, let's just, like I say, I'll make a motion that we approve her attending that conference.
I've never asked, so I didn't know the process. I just can't.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, thank you guys. Haley, is there anything I need to do other than this?
Did you say it was?
It's in October. Well, because I still have like training dollars because I've been doing as many free trainings because they're all over like Zoom. So I will pay for the training out of this.
This fiscal year, when your
Yes.
registration, that's fine.
Yeah, because I mean the money's sitting there, might as well get it used versus the extra.
Yeah.
All right, thank you guys.
I wanted to my night art.
Yes.
You guys remember we do this pretty much every year, but they're giving us the option, 1 or 2. It'll save us a little bit. We have to, it's a requirement, we have to do this. It's part of our regular audit, and then they look at this data. It's for like the insurance and the out of pocket type of stuff.
Are you getting an invoice in from them?
Yes, once I send them back that, they've already requested some of the data from us.
Well, they already have.
They already get a head start, well, they'd like to because our audit starts the last week of June next year.
We've been with them before.
Yes, I think that's, we've had them for the last, even when Jill was there, so.
Yeah.
There's only a couple companies that we have issues with,
Mm.
so they're familiar with our stuff.
And then they were evidently good with,
Ideally.
Yep.
Yeah. This is kind of an annual thing.
They're just giving me the option to lock it in for 2 years. Which I don't even know if I technically had to get your approval, but I'm pretty transparent.
Yeah, I don't see any reason not to lock it in for 2 years. I'll make a motion that we go ahead and approve this as we have in the past, the service agreement with Nyhart. Was stuttering there, or the actuary updates.
You okay with the 2 years locking it
For
in?
2 years, yes.
Yeah.
And I think that's wise.
It's
All in
a
favor?
full savings.
Aye.
Aye.
Yeah, everything's been going on.
Right.
How about reports? Anything?
Finally had our Zoom meeting with Heartland for our July 1st insurance. We had 2 items on there. One we could actually table so we could discuss it further. If you recall, we had some limits on the total property damage for the whole policy. I think I expanded on that a little bit ago, but we voted on the cyber liability, and this will show you what we did. And then I'll just give that to Haley. This will be part of our insurance policy, which goes into effect July 1.
This was not on the
Yeah,
Yes, Les.
I amended it and went back out right away because John was gonna call me like just after 9.
agenda.
So you probably printed it before the,
Yes, I did. Okay.
because this guy's gonna start for next week. So that's why it's on the time.
It's not cheap, is it, Rick?
No, it isn't.
Oof.
Yeah.
A lot of coverage though.
Well, everything we do is cyber. The big question is how we cover the additional insured, such as the landfill. So I don't know that they're on the county system.
Don't they have their own insurance?
Well,
They got, the only thing that we share with them is health insurance for 2 of the employees.
They have to pay the full price.
well, that's not quite right, because all their equipment, their buildings are through Heartland.
Yeah.
And so they are partially insured with Heartland, but the cyber is not gonna be covered with that, because they're not on the county system. So,
They don't have their own IT.
I don't believe that they need it.
I don't know. That'd be more of a Ben question.
I don't know, I mean, they're not looking at any of our servers or anything, so
That's
I don't know what kind of software they're using.
secondary roads is, for example, so they're covered.
I'd say there's a lot more liability with secondary roads than there is landfill.
Well, I've had ransomware. I mean, I've been hacked into. It destroyed my computer system. It just trashed it.
Is the sheriff's department on this too?
As long as they're under Heartland, yes, they are. And they are under Heartland. Yes. Good morning. Come on in. Looking for the board meeting? You found this. Thank you.
Oh, I'll do the sheriff quick.
The what?
The sheriff?
I have it on.
That's it. That's it. Did you have any reports, Tracy?
No.
Oh, darn, that's weird.
No.
Yeah.
next door down. Well, that's interesting.
Good morning. Come on in and pull up a chair.
Somewhere, yes.
Yep. We got lots of chairs.
Yeah.
I heard your name back here somewhere. Not using the name, guys. Tracy, any update on when we're gonna be doing the concrete out back?
No,
West side?
I finally got up there yesterday afternoon, I see it wasn't done.
Oh, yeah, they haven't even.
Yeah, I'm gonna call them. The IT guys got the Abbey Center done. They got one thing that they didn't do and they want me to do it, so another thing I can.
They won't be paid out this fiscal year, right?
What's that?
They won't pay it this fiscal year, the rest of the part.
I want it done by June 30th.
Well, and the last claim run is 2 weeks from today, so.
Okay, well, I was gonna call them. I got that note at home on the desk, that guy's number.
Because the bill we already paid was the full amount for this.
No, that was for this.
Yeah, just
That was
this,
for 100% of that.
So that one's
on
paid,
our
but
side.
Yeah.
Yeah, they haven't been back, they haven't turned the wheel. I don't know what's going on, I haven't talked to them. And I haven't talked to the Abbey Center saying that they got the green light to move in, so. They wanted to be in here before the 1st of July, so it's ready.
Sure.
Meter, you're up, wiring's done, I got a light to put in there yet, that one room yet, which you've seen that. I won't be able to get that this week, so.
Well, they go on as far as their internet, they go on the state system.
Yeah.
So, which is good.
Don't have nothing to do with that.
Right, right.
I'm sure the girls are ready to move in, but they can't move in until the bosses from Cedar Rapids give them the okay. I haven't talked to Kathy at all.
Okay.
Okay. And we got a few minutes to kill. Kelly just laid this one on me. We got an estimate, I'm kind of happy on this one, for a new furnace for the
well,
courthouse.
The boiler,
Boiler, yeah.
and this is gonna be covered with the ARPA funds.
Yeah. It wasn't as bad as I thought.
and I told Rick with that amount, we'll probably still have to publicize that and make sure everybody else wants to bid on that. That's the only company you could get to come in and do it somewhere.
Really? Wow. I'm amazed.
And,
Come in cheaper than we got.
yes, a lot cheaper.
Yeah.
Was
Good
this
morning.
the one that's coming to our office?
Come on in,
I
have a
don't
seat.
know, but I'm guessing so, yes, I'm guessing.
And how's that gonna
Not-
work?
I don't know. I don't know. I haven't dealt with them, haven't talked to them. Rick was online.
That would be a vote for no for our office. Just in case you wanted it. That would be a horrible disruption.
Yes, it would be.
I missed something, sorry.
One of the companies want to bring all the new furnace down the steps on her office, outside her,
Oh, really?
that way to get into the basement.
Wow.
Which the problem is, the steps going down the regular part of the, we have that wall, that inner
Correct.
wall.
Correct.
There again, I suggested maybe removing the inner wall, and where we have problems is that we're a historical society registered building.
Yeah,
We can't do that.
you can't put it back as it was.
So I even thought about maybe if a guy could take the glass out, come over top and drop down, but there again, can we do that? You know, it's one of them fine lines that we own the building, but we gotta get permission to do what we wanna do with our own building.
So the other entrances are through their office or through what used to be the DOT in the front.
Yeah.
Which is,
Yeah,
is it juvenile?
yeah.
Yeah.
And see, then I thought about coming down, if they could come down the south step.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I haven't met with them. Rick was doing all the doing, you know.
Okay.
But I just thought, you know, I was expecting they were gonna cost $600,000, $700,000, $800,000 for a new system. You know, that did come in $160,000. You know. Well, it's 9:30, folks. Do we have somebody here from
Liberty Power?
Liberty?
Yep, that's me. Bit of information.
Thank you.
Anybody else want coffee?
Okay. Anybody else?
Sure.
Don't worry, that's not to stand.
Come on up front.
Okay, cool.
Please.
Perfect.
You're the center of attention. Don't let that spook you though.
Okay, thank you for having me. I appreciate being able to come present to you guys. I work for a company called Liberty Power. We are looking at Benton County as a potential location for a wind project. So to give you guys kind of an idea of who we are, Liberty Power. So we started as a company called Algonquin Power Utilities Corp. Back in 1988. Liberty Power is a subsidiary of Algonquin Power. We're traded both on the New York Stock Exchange as well as the Toronto Stock Exchange. We're in both the utilities and the renewable energy industry, and we're in about 16 different jurisdictions spread across Canada and the United States, with about 3,400 employees. Liberty, the company I work, which is the non-regulated side of the business, we have about 1 million customers, and we have about 4.1 gigawatts of renewable energy online. The map on the right gives you an idea of where exactly we're located. We're in both Canada and the United States, Chile, and Bermuda. That's where all our assets are located right now. So flip to the next page. This is specifically to the Liberty Power side of the business, which shows our renewable energy project locations. I've highlighted a couple of our projects on the left side, just to give you an idea of what we kind of work on. So under development, we have a project called Maverick. It's in Illinois. It's a split between solar and battery. It's 250 in total. We have a project called Mira, which is a solar and wind project. Under construction, we have a wind project called Deerfield in Michigan, as well as a project called Shady Oaks 2. It's an expansion project, and I'll speak to it in the following slide. And then recently operating, we have a project called Maverick. At the time when the project was constructed, it was the biggest project in the United States at 492 megawatts. Now we're seeing projects in the industry that are over 600 megawatts, split between solar and wind. Even wind projects are getting up to that size because of the turbine capacity. And another project called Sugar Creek in Illinois. This would be, if we proceeded with this project, our first project in Iowa. We're expanding into Iowa now, with our primary focus over the years being in Illinois. Now Iowa is becoming quite attractive for quite a few developers, so that's why we're here. So what is our approach when we develop our projects? So right now Liberty has 1,541 operating turbines. That doesn't include the ones that we're proposing, which is approximately 1,000 more of that. When we start our projects, we like to build long-term relationships. That's why I'm here today. Early stage, we haven't contacted any landowners yet. We always start at the county level to understand what everybody's perspective here is, because it gives us a good idea of what we're going to hear in the community, whether the community is supportive or not. If the county's supportive, that gives us good direction to start talking to landowners. So as part of our projects, we like to do economic benefits agreements. That's something that we do across all our projects. It provides local benefits to the communities, and we try to be supportive as long as we're in development, construction, and operation. That's our company model. We don't sell anything. Once we start developing a project, we own it till it's completely done. So that's a 50-year relationship. As a company, we want to be transparent as possible. That's why I'm here. I want to start this relationship now rather than 2 years down the road when this project would start going through the permitting process. So as a company, we support community benefits agreements. We do road use agreements for all our projects. We try to protect the local roads as possible, and where needed, we upgrade them in order to bring infrastructure in. Decommissioning plans. There's things called decommissioning bonds, as you're probably aware of, that get put up for decommissioning when we get to that stage of a project. Go to the next page. So usually we develop a hybrid project. I come as a wind project. However, solar often gets added on because we sometimes hear that landowners are interested in the solar component as well. So usually we look at hybrid projects. So why are we here? There's transmission line access within the community. There's a wind and solar resource, good wind speed, good solar radiance. Constructability is fair. It's fairly flat here, so it's pretty easy to build infrastructure. Zoning, there's an ordinance in place. There's available land and environmental attributes. For environmental attributes, we try to avoid things like wetlands, streams, forested areas, to give a few examples. So you don't see a lot of that here, so that's why we're here. So on the next page, just to give an idea of where we started and where we are now. So we had a project called Shady Oaks 1, built in 2011. We just finished the second part of it, so Shady Oaks 2, in 2021. So when it first was built, 71 turbines as part of the first phase, it was a 109 megawatt project. Now it's 118 for phase 2, only 28 turbines. So we're looking at 33% taller, 375% more power, and 76 less turbines. Turbines on the second phase are 656 feet. The first phase was 490, so turbines have gone up in height and capacity. So to give an idea of where exactly we're looking within the county, so we're looking at the bottom, the east side of the counties within Union, Eldorado, Fremont, Leroy, St. Clair, and Florence. That's the area we're starting off with. If we were to proceed with the project, we've identified that area as the best potential project location within the county. The project we're proposing is a 300 megawatt project, up to, it could be smaller. At a 300 megawatt project, it would be about 50-60 turbines. The turbines we're looking at are 6 megawatt in size. They could be bigger depending on how the industry goes, and 656 feet in height. We haven't done much research into the setbacks yet as we're just starting, so we obviously need to talk to the community and the townships and the county in order to understand that. So, based on that, the proposed project timeline that we're looking at right now is we're starting today, which is the project origination phase. We'd be doing consultation, land acquisition for the next year or 2 years. Then we'd be doing interconnection applications, putting up met towers, continue our community engagement process. We'd start permitting, hopefully, depending on how the land acquisition phase goes, in 2023, continue that through 2025, which would include things like avian surveys, bat surveys, wetland surveys, geotechnical surveys, to give a few examples. Then we start construction hopefully in 2025, and be in commercial operation sometime in 2026 would be our goal right now. So to give some ideas of potential community and economic benefits, so tax revenue, that's one of the ways the township and the county benefit for tax revenues, as well as the school boards that would be distributed, however you're split it at this level. Employment. As part of our project, we do try to hire as many local people during both construction and operations phase of the project. It's about 100 to 150 for a project of this size. It could be more depending on what's needed. Contract opportunities. So there are economic offshoots to local businesses, so hotels, restaurants, contractors such as lawn mowing businesses, weed management, all of that would be required for a project. Land use, so compatible uses. So for a wind project, you can have essentially up to the access road, up to the turbine path, farmers essentially growing whatever they're growing, and they're coexisting on the same parcel, we'd work with the farmers to understand where they want the turbines and the access roads so that it would not impact their operations. So capital infrastructure, in order for a project to proceed, we would need to do things like road upgrades, and that would go through construction and operation, and we'd make sure that they're maintained as best as possible. And then clean electricity generation. So a 300 megawatt project approximately equals to 90,000 homes being powered. And for a project within Iowa, we're trying to support the 100% clean power generation by 2035 that's been set by the state. As a company, we do try to support as much local. To give some examples of what we've done in the past, we've supported Lions Club, fire departments, county fairs, local businesses, United Way, just to give some examples of where we'd be trying to work with the community in order to do various donations across the project timeline. So that goes on from essentially proposed project all the way through operations. And yeah, so if there's any ideas, we appreciate any suggestions you may have. So that ends my presentation. I appreciate everyone's time, and let me know if you have any questions.
Well, as we get to the map here,
Yeah.
some of it is that Mark Grayling, the way we have ordinance set up in the county right now, you won't be able to build.
Okay.
Can you elaborate on that maybe a little bit?
Yes, I can. What you should know first off is that Benton County has an agricultural land preservation ordinance. The
Okay.
entire unincorporated area of Benton County is classified as an agricultural land use district.
Okay.
Within that district, basically any new non-ag use has to be reviewed and approved.
Okay.
Your use would have to be reviewed and approved by this Board of Supervisors. In order to be approved, you have to meet certain criteria. The number one criteria in our county is whether or not that land is classified as productive land.
Right.
Productive is 70 CSR and above. And so we've been hard fast with that ever since the mid-'80s, since we developed that ordinance. If an application is submitted, most of the time what we've done beforehand is we take a look at the land and we discourage any application for a new non-ag use on land that is higher than that, because the board's not supposed to be approving taking that kind of land out of production. So, but if you do submit an application, of course, that land would have to be under that 70 CSR standard. So that you need to know. And that ordinance is in place. It's been being enforced since the mid-'80s. So.
Very good.
Mark, could you tell her approximately how much of the land in Benton County is 70 CSR or higher?
A very high percentage. I don't know the exact number, but it's very high, particularly down in that part of Benton County.
The areas that would be lower would be the areas they've already indicated they don't like to build, like wetlands areas.
Yes, the waterways, the wetlands,
Forested areas.
the eastern seaboard of Benton County. Some of the townships have some lower CSR, but that's primarily in the mid to northern area, closer to the river, where the forested areas do exist. You get below, well, actually, you get below Shellsburg area on south. That's all good land. All along Highway 30, it's all good land. And so, again, those would be potential obstacles that you would need to know about.
I appreciate that information.
Yeah.
We wish we could develop in floodplains or wetlands, but then you start encountering U.S. Fish and Wildlife and DNR, which they don't allow us to do that. So.
Well, our land use ordinance prohibits developing in floodplains as well.
Yeah.
And so, those are all major factors. Protection of people and property.
Can I say something?
Sure. Well,
My name is Al Shackpaw. I have farmland in Benton County, and there's 9 of us here this morning on very quick notice supporting this ordinance.
Okay.
We do not want the lane towers or the ag land. And so, as far as you ask for public, in our opinion, you're not going to get public support.
Good information. That's why we start early to get that information. So.
Anybody else got anything to say? Lynn?
I guess I could say, why don't you go out in Arizona where there's desert or something where nobody's living?
We're pursuing
Yeah.
As a company, we're pursuing the entire United States. Some communities want it, some don't. That's why I do these kinds of presentations to understand that. And we move on if their community doesn't want it, so.
Where are you out of?
We're out of Oakville, Ontario, Canada. With the majority of our operations in the United States, but our headquarters is in Canada.
So you can all around and do these presentations
Yeah,
then?
correct. Yeah.
Does the power stay in our area supplied, so you're making power for our county?
So it connects into the transmission lines, so the transmission lines that run to your county, we don't determine where the load is, we just connect onto it and it goes wherever the demand is, so.
And that's usually on the east coast, the south.
It could be, yeah, we don't have control over that, so.
So how did you pick this area of the county?
So it's the area of the county that has the highest wind speeds, so.
Lately, we've been having our share, haven't we, Steve?
Yeah, we've got plenty of wind, that's for sure.
We're in that area.
Can I say something too?
Sure.
I just want to echo Al's comments. My family, this is my mom, my dad here, we just learned of this at 8:30 this morning and got everything we had to come here. And we also support the ordinance that we have in place to protect the ag land. We just believe that we have chosen to live in rural Benton County for a reason, and we're going to do everything we can to uphold this ordinance, and we've been doing so against other projects for some time, and I think we will be against a project like this.
Record church, for sure, thank you.
One of the things that I would add at this point is Samantha just touched on it, that you just became aware of it, as did we. We have received phone calls in the last couple of years from solar people, wind people, across the board to our office directly. Not trying to be critical, but normally they make a phone call before they even come to see this board to see what our rules and regulations are. Normally, what's happened in the past is when they find out what our rules and regulations are, we do not hear from them again. And that doesn't mean that we won't at some point in time, but I just throw that in there, that this is basically news to all of us as well here that are on staff with land use and environmental health. So, but anyway, we attempt to describe to the best of our ability what our regulations are. We tell no one that they cannot apply. You always can apply. That's everyone's prerogative. We don't limit that in any way, shape, or form, but we do tell you what we know about that land and tell you the facts about it before you apply. So if you choose to, then you're on your own, basically. So anyway, that's all I have.
The reason why I didn't call around is because no one answers my number. I have a Canadian number, and it's really hard to get in touch with people. No one picks it up. So that's why I come to commissioners, supervisors meetings, because this is the opportunity to get everybody in the same room to hear what everybody's thinking. So.
And your email came off the website, so I forwarded it to all three of you and Mark at the same time.
Yeah.
So just so you know, everybody was notified at the same time.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
And did you have our ordinances or attempt to get them off that website before you today?
Yes, I mean, I looked at them. Okay, to be transparent, some counties have these ordinances in place, and they're willing to offer variances. So, I mean, that's why I come to these meetings to understand if that is a possibility. It doesn't sound like it is, so that is very good information. So we'll proceed from there, and most likely we'll come back, so.
The variance provision in the ordinance is very narrow.
Yeah.
And for instance, just because the board might want to do it, that's not grounds for a variance.
Right, yeah.
My question for our county attorney, I have visited with other counties that have turbines, and what they have suggested is that we do a moratorium. Should we be doing a moratorium on wind and solar so we can get some additional rules, regulations set in place before anyone should make an application?
under your current land use ordinance, you have virtually no place in the county that one of these would be allowed. So.
With the exceptions that they
I don't
currently.
think you need it, I don't think you need that.
Okay, that's what I was, just trying to make sure that we've got our bases covered.
I don't know of anywhere in this quadrant that they've delineated.
I think I would interject there, Rick, is that a lot of the counties do a moratorium because they're moving towards wanting to add provisions to their ordinance to allow certain uses. As in certain zoning ordinances, they may have, what's the word, special use,
Okay.
I just lost the thought there, but anyway, they do moratoriums so they can get their act together, so to speak. In our county, we are what we are, and there has not been that outcry to change anything, and so I don't think that we would need to do a moratorium either. But,
My only concern was in anything that is below the 70 CSR, that we would have protection for individuals for setbacks and reclaiming, etc. You know, that's what I was coming forth with, was, you know, if we needed that.
The other thing is,
CYA,
even if the land in question was below 70 CSR, you still have to comply with all the other parts of the ordinance. Is it a compatible use with that area of the county?
Okay.
You know, what do the neighbors say? You know, things of that nature. It appears to be very unlikely at this point that anybody would want to move forward with this type of project.
Okay, good. I'm just trying to make sure we got our bases covered, guys. So, yeah. Okay. Thank you. Anything else?
I guess that's all we got. You kinda hear our game plan here. It's not favorable for you.
Yep, no, I appreciate that. Thank you, everyone.
Okay. Thank
Thanks
you.
for presenting it to us.
They have basically this area and highway, and then this area that the report gets. They could put a turf in the basement.
I read it on the shorter that I sent.
And they could put 10,000.
Hey, Dave.
Protecting our family. There we go.
My name's John. Thank you.
You brought it up. Yeah, see you later.
And Tracy's house is right.
Right?
Thanks, Karen.
That's you guys, thank you.
Got all the babies growing up there, Karen?
What's that?
Got all the babies
All
growing
those
up?
babies went home yesterday. We kept the old folks, but we sent all the, they're a lot of work. Yeah, wild. It was just, but it was fun, it wasn't really bad.
Good, good.
So now we're just cleaning a lot of pens. Thank you guys very much.
See ya.
Great. Thank you. Ruth, good to see you. How are you? Good to see you, Karen. We didn't notice, but you did. Actually, Mark. Oh, I am. I found out from them. Carried your class. He got wind of it.
I was just afraid that it got in under the wire somewhere.
I'm gonna head out to the AFC after our meeting today. And I'm gonna see if I can have Becky pull up the CSR map of Benton County and print it off. Yeah. If she's not there, I'll call her. She can email me that map and give me. I'm thinking probably 85% of that county is, yeah.
Mary has some soil maps too.
The worst part that I see is like in the summer whenever spraying crops and stuff.
There's more and more.
You have a lot of wind towers.
Different places.
Crop destruction needs to be out.
I mean,
If it's 2 miles, I don't know about 2 miles away. I bet you all these probably be on crops.
I'm sure they're doing other places.
on wind turbines, that's why they're dealing with extended contract. Area.
And it sounds like other things that we're doing, they freeze up.
Within a certain radius.
Well, yeah, on that farm anyway. I don't know what this, you know, you can't regulate your neighbors. And no one of the other deal is that, no honey. No hunting, no honey. Cannot discharge a firearm on property.
Down south of Marengo, and east on highway, all the way out. There's a bunch of wind tower blades stored there. Taking it down and cutting off. This was very fresh stored there. There's an old sandwich shop that's, that had a fire that's behind it. Oh, yeah. I don't know what they're gonna do. In Texas, they got places where they just got them out in the country, they're just there. They've been there.
Big one, just remember, you gotta
Jim Brain called you on it.
No, I was talking about Dawn
He
yesterday.
wants to have a WMA meeting. Like it's
What they're
third.
doing,
And then this week we called.
they just want the money, yeah.
Tuesday, is it? There's the,
Yeah, they're having the tour in the morning and then the deal all
All gonna be no good. And all
the thing is noon.
They gotta take them all down.
Tour,
And that's cement on every
that don't set well with me because we're here, we're in the meeting. Who's the one's been signing the checks? But
Jennifer knows our meetings are Tuesday. I mean, cause I have to have the camera on next week.
that's the two items.
Next, the flight will start.
My opinion, town changes. Huh? I told her that right away, this has been scheduled.
What time is it? Oh, yeah, that was.
The tour, I believe, starts at either 9 or 10 on the bus.
Hey,
And the meal at noon.
That's what
Yeah, but we're.
We have
We have to canvass the election, unless you meet Monday, but.
We can change it to the afternoon.
It's up to you guys, I don't care one way or another.
I mean, you did mention they're serving lunch.
Who's got all the fatties?
people are coming out of Washington DC.
Yes.
What's truck?
You can change their schedule.
No,
Oh, yeah.
Did you? You didn't tell me.
Catch it, yeah. I was gonna go with courthouse, and I meant.
But Mark has a land use hearing that day too.
Oh, yeah. It's down like, down our township.
Because I published that.
Well, yeah, I was like, yeah, that's
Perfect.
where that,
Try to be done.
well, yeah, you know, there's the transmission line.
There's the two of these.
Construction around the club.
I know there's-
That transmission line, so that might
I
be,
don't know, you can do that, just keep your agenda short, very light,
yeah.
so you're done by that.
That's why they had solar over there. Whatever transmission line out of doing Arnold, could go on use, so now they, there's a really good reason.
Oh, yeah. Everything. Happens, so land afterwards.
Beetlejuice in the trees.
You do.
Now they want to do the retainage.
You could probably do Iowa County too. Why not?
I had surprised.
If you would, whatever you're leaving.
No, I should use it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, folks, we've had a noise complaint.
A noise complaint, shut the door on us. You guys don't get to hear though.
That's the way it
You're
goes.
fine.
Sorry about that. That's part of life. People.
It's on the way, you're telling us this is.
Wednesday, not ordered.
It feels like it is? That's probably because you work all these Sunday, right?
Catch
Yeah.
up, did work a little bit, so.
Got plans last week, set for some hay, when we're gonna cut that.
I see there's been quite a bit of a cut already around the county.
Yeah, guys got some up Sunday. It's not a big deal. We can pay. We've got a farm down in Iowa County, and the landlord was gonna put a couple wind towers up. The neighbors, they weren't all happy about it, and it never happened. They don't have any of them south of the interstate.
God, they really got tall, haven't they? Did she say 600?
665?
Something like that.
Long ways.
Holy cow. First will be the last page I'm trying to find.
Oh, you like to be standing on top of it.
656 feet.
We bought a tractor up in northwest Iowa where they had a bunch of them.
Good morning. 2 hours early, according to your clock in the hallway.
Feels like I've been here that way longer than that.
Was gonna bother Dick to get in, but your group just was walking out the door. And I walked in with it. Really? And you got by? We'll let it go. Probably not. Before the morning's over with.
The camera guy on background. Which is fine, I guess.
Get started here real quick, keep you on schedule. Taylor Pluha started as a mechanic almost a year ago on secondary roads. His year anniversary will actually be next Tuesday, the 14th. So with that goes a pay increase, $23.72 would be what that pay raise for pay. Hourly pay would be effective the 14th of June. So got a resolution here to get that officially changed for the next pay period.
So moved. Okay. I'll second that. Wage
Aye.
increase?
Yep, by resolution.
Kramer, aye.
Your shake, aye.
Seaman, aye.
How's vacay?
All right.
Never
Less
mind.
stressful. No, less stressful than I thought it might be.
Less stressful.
Well,
Vacations aren't supposed to be stressful, but.
my vacation was all centered around wedding time. I had a son that got married the 28th. So it was offering any assistance that was needed there and unexpected things that came up. And getting ready for it seemed to go pretty well.
Good.
Took an extra day at the end, just rest. Even though I had a holiday.
Well, I'm glad that went well for you.
Mm-hmm. Mother Nature cooperated, so we could do an outdoor ceremony.
Saturday?
It was Saturday. Carrie Les prepared food, and it was extremely good.
Good cook.
ITC Midwest LLC wants to repair, rebuild one of their lines and extend it, I believe. I'm assuming that extension has already gone through public hearing and all that stuff, or not?
Yes, it has.
So I'm assuming when this permit came to me that all of that stuff had been worked out with the new property owners that are affected.
They bought it, yeah. The only thing I don't know, Bob Owen owns the ground on the other side of the road. And, Power Sheet Water did cut into the remains, if you remember last fall. You've seen south of the viaduct, 1.25 miles, they did these half moons. That was to extend the water, you know, so they can dig down where they want to put the poles on the west side of 218. So I'm sure since Power Sheet Water had to do that, they should have got permission from Bob Olin, you know what I mean, to put the poles there.
Let me back up for the other two. I say I looked at Tracy because it gets in his neighborhood, but ITC wants to replace, extend, and transmission line that runs from what they're calling the Williamsburg substation to a Newhall substation. The Newhall substation does not exist at this point yet. They own the ground to put it on, but they haven't built it. There is a transmission line that runs between, right here in the map, runs on the east side of 23rd Avenue, coming up out of Iowa County, and pretty much runs right along that half mile up to,
Keep going.
I think it actually comes, right now, it ends with the transmission line that runs east and west there, around just south of 75th Street. What they want to do then, replace those poles and then extend it north over Highway 30, and work their way then a little bit east along 218 and about 1.5 miles north of 30 on 218 on the east side. They bought a parcel of ground from Wording, I think it is,
Yep.
to put a substation at.
Yep.
And so they have asked for a utility permit because they will be crossing over numerous of our roads. And I don't see any problem. They are all on private property, so we'll have some type of easement with all those property owners existing from 75th South, and there'll be new easements that impact new property owners going north. But their poles are off and out of the right of way. They just like double check where they get close to the right of way that they're not gonna have added guide wires or whatever. These look like they're gonna be very tall poles, and they're gonna have buried in the ground 25 plus feet, and a few of them will be probably some anchor pads of some sort. So anytime they need to turn an angle with their line, they've gotta have some stronger supports at those corner posts.
The only thing, they're gonna run that line on the west side of 218 from Warnings up the half-mile line south. Then I do not know, are they gonna go through the fields then, through Bidwell's, to get around the cattle lot, and then go down the half-mile line through everybody's field?
They're running somewhat type of an angle. I think there's about 8 to 10 poles that they have marked out on maps that I was looking at, from the substation to the half mile.
And they started this
So it's been a couple years ago.
6, 7 years back.
Okay, I don't know. The plan set that I'm looking at, the draft says something about 19 or 20. So
Okay.
I'm sure they were doing some research, investigation well before that, just because they're.
Originally, they come and seen me and wanted to know if I could sell them 10 acres south of my house, and I said, no fish. So that's why they ended up on 218.
So they're gonna run these poles at an angle across the section?
Only in the,
Big Bob Owens and Benton, which you used to farm to get around the cattle lot, and then they're going down the half mile line by Rich Less's, straight south. And I just followed it to the half mile line to Rich Less's and Schultz's there. I don't know which side of the fence. They get easement on both sides, but they only have a pole on one side. So I don't know which side. I quit following it because, you know, when they bought the ground from Warnings, they were gonna do it the next year, and then that ground, that 10 acres was idle. They didn't do nothing with it, let it grow up in weeds. So then he ended up putting, oats and alfalfa in it, and they baled that late in the year, you know, got it off, and then the following year, it was a nice, good stand of alfalfa. ITC said, go ahead and put it back to farm ground, we're not doing nothing. So he put it back to farm ground, so he cropped it the last 2 years. Now it's cropped again right now. So if they're starting on it, maybe they'll be destroying it.
I don't understand that, going across the section at an angle. That ain't gonna work very well.
You just farm around the poles. They won't have guide wires.
We got 7 lines going through our farm, they're paying.
So do I.
I mean, they're running right down the half mile line for 99% of it. It's just gonna be there at, basically at 72nd.
Right.
Get around that building site, I think, getting it over to 218.
Yep.
And then running up 218, that short half mile to the parcel.
Yep.
So there's, I don't know, 2 or 3 property owners that would have that transmission line running somewhat diagonally, but there again, you're just talking the footprint of that pole that you'd have to work around, and certainly the easement would cover the construction while they're getting in and out of there, so you'd have a, track width basically for equipment to get in there and get things situated.
Okay.
Do you need a motion to approve this utility permit?
Yes, I do.
I'll give you that motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. I'm going to crap with keep my name on
You figures. Thanks a lot, bud.
Earlier this spring, it was brought to my attention on, I guess what you call kind of 59th Street Trail and 33rd Avenue Drive. The T intersection that's just about half mile west of Lynn County. When 33rd Avenue Drive Road was first established, I think the way it teed in, kind of angled into 33rd Avenue going north, versus the curve that was put in the road and as it exists right now. You did a land use hearing a year ago or so for a Harvard, I think is their last name, bought it from Hunt. It's right on the corner. But there's a triangle of right-of-way that almost looks like it goes with that parcel that they bought, but is right-of-way. It's probably more than what we need for the road, because of how the old road and the old original road and the old road were put together versus what we have done to do what we're working on over there. The surveyor that was doing that caught that, said, why don't we draw things up as your plat is, and that you can come back and talk to county and see if they would be interested in maybe vacating that triangle. It's somewhat similar to what Ben brought to you a year ago.
South of Shellsburg.
South of Shellsburg. In that case, there was only one property owner. This case, it's one property owner asking for it. What I still need to do is a little research as whether, because that triangle is actually split and you have purchased on one side of the line and purchased on the other side of the line, or is it the same properties as it is right now, or is it two property owners? Still, you would have to go through a public hearing and vacation type of deal like we did south of Shellsburg. I'm proposing that we set a date, I guess, and discuss that. I was looking at July 12th. Because of a few conflicts I have.
We have a busy day that day.
Okay.
July 12th?
Well, then that.
Well, the 5th we do.
On the 5th it is?
Yeah.
Okay, you're right, the 5th. Okay, 12th.
I wasn't sure if I was making it a long weekend, so I decided to skip that and.
July 5th.
That's where all.
Well, it's got
Oh,
three
yeah,
different land use changes.
If we'd gone on the 28th, I would have proposed 3 weeks from
So let's
today,
do
but
it
I'm
then.
gonna be gone. So I'm throwing out July 12th is.
Sure.
Property owner is looking to put a fence and some trees up along that new line if we choose to vacate it, but he's not in a urgent hurry to do that, so.
At a certain time you need there, Haley.
Yeah, Mary will need the time to watch it.
I don't know how that agenda's looking at this point.
Fifth, we know it's
Can we throw 10 o'clock at you?
yeah, it's open. We want time.
Sure.
We'll make the motion that we set that land use hearing for July 12th at 10 a.m.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Aye.
Item number 4 is one of your 3.
And we put it on last week.
He's got a map, Myron, I'll let you have mine. Here's one. Oh, you got one?
There you go.
I'm gonna let Gary discuss, he's the one that investigated this.
This is 11th Avenue Drive. It's north of the golf course down Belle Plaine. And 76th Street's out in the country. 77th Street is Belle Plaine, the end of Belle Plaine. So one side is county, one side is city.
South side city, the north side's county.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
It's 45-mile-an-hour right north of 77th Street, and then it goes down to 35. It's 35 on the other side, and it's 45 on 76th Street. There's signs wherever the speed limit's marked. They did put oil on the road last week, and property owners are happy with that.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, it's been raining, so there isn't any dust. But it's really confusing because up north by the highway, a mile south of the highway or half mile south of the highway, it's all 35 and it's marked really well. But it's really confusing because it's 35 north of where it's 45, then it goes to 45, and then it goes to 35. So I guess what I'd like to see is have everything 35.
By resolution, we did do that.
That's what I thought.
We skipped between 76th and 77th when we did about 6 miles or whatever we did. We did both north and south. I came back a week or 2 weeks later, I can't remember, from the first one. And the residents that live between 76th and 77th asked what the reasoning behind that was, as to 45, 35 or 45 on a dry day doesn't make a heck of a lot of difference with dust. That's true. I've had my people taking some assessments too, and 35 helps from a safety standpoint, but it doesn't reduce the dust. Reduces some, but not a huge amount type of deal. My assumption at this point, Gary, is that we didn't get back down there and swap signs.
Whatever. Just figured I'd bring it to your attention.
I know I don't think that the problem is inventory. I know that was the problem when we did the first resolution. I got a hold of the sign producer, and he was able actually to sneak in a dozen 35s into his production that weekend because he was coming our way with some signs to deliver the following week anyway.
I don't know what the deal is, but there is a bridge east of the golf course. It's in the city limits, so it's nothing to do with you. But I think that bridge is supposedly, according to these folks that live along this road, it's supposed to be reduced, the weight limit. But
That's in the city limits.
yeah, it's in the city, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Mm-hmm.
But there's semis going out north out of there, down this road.
Yeah, you and I both talked to one of the residents on that road that's commented about that. I mean, I don't know that there's anything more that can be done on our end. I know that, if you are using some type of navigation system to map out your route, if you run a through route, if you're running, 21 from South Belle Plaine to North Belle Plaine, and you punch that in, I think you get the detour directing you to follow what is posted out there. If you miss the signs for whatever reason, purposely or not, and you get North Belle Plaine on 21 and you ask your navigation system to redirect you, it will run you down 11th Avenue Drive and over to 131, I think. And so, particularly where you asked to get redirected with the navigation system, you could get directed right down 11th Avenue Drive because you're in that point. I don't know that there's any way to make any differences on that navigation systems along those lines. They're short of a closed road, and I don't know whether that would guarantee anything or not. But there again, if you're going to put up road closed signs and not have a road closed, it's not a good use of those signs.
Right.
Yeah, I talked to, people north of 30 there. They've called and called and called on this. And they finally, Google won't take their phone calls anymore. So they got neighbors calling.
They coming on the gates from the dirt road.
I know, working on it, Randy met with Terry Schwab last week on approximate placement for the two, I call it Hisder Road, as well as the one on the north end for Hulch.
I just come by there Saturday night, I looked up the road, I didn't see nothing off of 30. So I figured it wasn't done yet.
No, there's signs that go with that there on order that are needed, and how one is gonna attack that on Highway 30 for sure or not.
Okay.
I haven't talked to the DOT or the contractor as to how things are going on that project, as to how soon they might be paving that south side, at which point when they close that intersection north going off of Highway 30 is gonna cure that problem for a while.
Side note, west of Newhall, that dirt road a mile.
Mm-hmm.
Well, west of that bridge.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I took a good look at that 2 weeks ago when you were on vacation, and that's what it looks like. That wall is tipped into the creek, you know, the top level is pitched, you know. So, you probably heard that they did put a small road close signs there by the driveway by Peg Lime's place to the north. And they also put one down at south at the intersection beginning of that dirt road. Well, that barricade on the south side was there for 2 days and somebody liked it and it's gone. I told Jeff he had it painted up too good. It looked like a good one. And it's gone, but anyway, we're gonna have to do something with that. I was there at Faye's there on Monday, helping load beans out, and I seen the cars come down that dirt road, and that was worth $1 million just sitting there watching that, because when that car hit that bridge doing 50 miles an hour, it was airborne. So, I'm just bringing this to your attention. To me, it's a matter of time before that south wall actually flops and the bridge goes down in the creek. It's just a matter of time. And the co-op's still going across it with their big sprayers, you know what I mean? That's gonna be one of them that, you know, it's gonna be something heavy gonna make that move, I'm afraid.
Mm-hmm.
But just bringing it to your attention.
Okay.
You know, we've been talking about it for how many years now. I don't know if we can put a box culvert in there or a tile or a culvert, you know, whatever, but something's gotta be done. Either close the road completely.
Yeah, you could maybe put one of them, like they use down in Hammond Lake, one of them railroad cars or whatever it is.
I don't wanna
Cut the ends out of it.
On the same token, it's a dirt road, and I don't wanna stick that much money into it, which he knows that, I already said that. Cause I thought about doing them I-beam and fill them up with cement across them. Well, steel is outrageous right now.
Mm-hmm.
So, but it's something that needs your attention. You know.
No, I looked at it about a month ago.
Save the county. I know Jeff says he will not cross it no more. He'll go up there and he'll bring dirt, try to get it level, so it's tipped, but he will not cross it. So, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Here, just put some big barricades up there and close the road. I don't wanna see the county get sued or something. Alrighty?
Mm-hmm.
That's all I got.
And you'll go down and change the signs out. 35 and 45, yeah.
Talked to the sun guy, he's off today, but, well,
It's not a big deal, it's just kind of confusing for the people that are taking it.
Yeah, they have the signs that get changed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. It's no big rush.
mine may have been, the old sign then was off back when we did that mile. It changed the 45 to 35, and they have neglected to get that message to him.
I guess we're done.
Haven't got it done yet, but by resolution it is.
Yeah, I got the old.
But the speed
Yep.
limit?
No, he's got it taken care
Oh,
of.
yeah.
It's just the
We gotta
signs,
take care of
your
your,
signs ain't taken down, that's the
Gotcha.
deal.
we just didn't get the signs.
All we want to know is discussing.
Yep. Okay, now we'll do the sheriff deal.
That's all I have.
That went.
Yeah, Myron.
So I just got clarification because it didn't say full or part-time, it is
Okay,
full-time.
Full-time.
So it'll be my
Okay.
resolution.
okay,
Make a motion that we, allow the sheriff's office to hire Caleb Stewart.
Yep.
Pronounced, as correction officer at $22.25 per hour.
Second.
by resolution,
effective 6/7. Resolution, Primer, aye.
Seaman, aye. Now we're done.
Now I'll make a motion that we adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.